Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Montina here. We are live from Atlanta, Georgia. So, welcome to the live stream. This is the daily dose of inspiration for women that want to get and stay married. So, we are on location because I have a hair appointment at like 8:30 in the morning. So, I decided to come down and get here early so that I could do the live. And I actually have awards luncheon that I have to go to at Coca-Cola. I've been nominated for an award, so that's kind of fun. All right, so welcome, welcome, welcome. I have a little agenda that I follow every single day. Well, most of the time, I try to follow the agenda. And if you can, please share this with someone that you know, male or female. It really doesn't matter. I have had men ask me for it, the link. I've had wives ask me for the link. I've had single women ask me for the link. And again, I created this daily podcasts so that you have the inspiration to stay married, really for my women that want to stay married, but also for my women that want to attract the love they desire and deserve. And for my younger women, this is for you too, because I do believe there's not enough out there that properly prepares you for marriage. You know, you're going to be in love, you're going to have all these great things going on, and everyone tells you the same thing. Two things: marriage is hard work and communicate. Okay, what else? How do you communicate with someone when you don't feel like it, when you're frustrated, when you're annoyed, when you're hurt? How do you reconcile? How do you, what type of work is it? Like, what do you do? How do you keep his attention? How does he keep your attention? What does affection look like? So I'm reading a book right now that talks about, I've read dozens and dozens of books, but this particular book that I'm reading is phenomenal as it relates to asking for what you want as a woman and telling him what it provides for you as a woman. I also talk about a lot of, our feminism and our being friendly. Good morning, Ipa. Good morning. That's also important because when we walk in our femininity and we're friendly and we're fun and we're fit, it makes life easier for us. I do talk about our physical appearance because it's important. But again, if we're just hearing marriage is hard work and commitment, it's just not enough. So I wish there were wives schools. I wish that older women, meaning those 20, 30, 40 years in, would come back and teach. But there's a code to this. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Y'all. I'm so happy you're here. I'm on location downtown Atlanta. I have a hair appointment here in an hour, but I was like, let me just show up early so I can get through traffic and be parked. So I'm live here. All right. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. 50% of first marriages, y'all, they end in divorce. 67% of second marriages end in divorce. 73% of third marriages end in divorce, and less than 5% of people are crazy enough to do it three times. And my husband and I were crazy enough to do it three times. And another statistic I've heard is the majority of divorces occur from after the first child is born. So I actually heard that statistic recently as well. There are a lot of factors that go into marriage. Like I said, I have no clue why we have support groups for alcoholics Anonymous, support groups for narcissistic personality disorder, support groups for sex addicts, support groups of love addicts, thousands. But when it comes to marriage, it's like, oh, girl, I'm going to pray for you. Pray for me. Are you crazy? This requires, listen, prayer, I get it, but it requires work. And again, I believe if we have a blueprint, that's what's practical. That's why I created this kind of mini support group for us. My girlfriend, when she went on and looked at my lives, she said, "Girl, you created a whole support group for yourself." I said, "Sis, I sure did. And it helps other women." So I'm happy you're here. 80% of the time, your marriage is more than manageable. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's fantastic. Add your adjective in. It's wonderful. 20% of the time, no, that's when it's difficult. 20% of the time is when we just, both of us, he wants to throw the towel in, you want to throw the towel in, you peeping over the fence saying, well, the grass is green on the other side, which it is. Don't let people tell you the grass is greener when you water it. No, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. But, and I'm going to say, and there's different challenges. There's challenges, y'all, with every aspect of life. So if you're not dealing with crazy ass mother-in-law, you dealing with crazy kids, crazy step kids, which I never heard of. You're not dealing with like his kids that are step kids. You're dealing with the ex-wife's kids too, and it is crazy. Think about if there's an age gap and they're similar or close in age, and you see things that aren't in your mind I don't want to say they're not normal, but you can see where maybe your husband's being used. Well, do you speak up about it? Do you stay silent about it? You're going to deal with, siblings. Like I said, you're going to deal with the best friends because you taking all his time now. So the grass is greener. I'm gonna start talking about that. The grass is greener, and the grass is green where you water it. Whatever. I don't know who made up all the grass, metaphors and colloquialisms, but guess what? You figure out what works for you. But I'm going to tell you, if you can stay on what you have already and figure it out, especially for those of y'all that have kids, figure it out. Now, for my women getting older, we're over 35, 40 and get married. Second and third marriages actually require more work than your first marriage because of the external factors. Your internal is good. Your finances are good. You feeling your best. Your sex life is probably pretty good because you in your 40s, girl, you done figured it out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You like, okay. But all of the other things that come along with it, you weren't prepared for. Okay. So I'm not going to do the devotion today because I didn't bring my Joyce Meyer book. But we do talk about the P's, y'all, the P's, the P's. And if my men are here, it's not what you think, but there's power in resources. There's power in the word of God, but there's power in resources, books. I'm always going to reference books. We need to read these books because they will give us the strategies, the solutions, the strength to move forward in these relationships. When these men, oh, pause, are getting on our nerves, they're crazy, sometimes crazy tendencies. You call it whatever you want. I know what I deal with, but men, oh, pause. And sometimes it's very difficult to make it through the valley days, right? You above the valley, like, whew, I ain't in the valley, but you going down the valley. God, this is hard. You tread the water 1 day out of 6 days, 2 days out of 6 days, 3 day out of 6 days. Then you coming back up and you're peering over. And for those of you kind of wondering about the days, I call it it's the 80-20 rule, right? Pareto's principle. And this is an aspect in business, life. 80% of the people in a company do 20% of the work. And it's a rule. I take it out of 30 days in the month, 80%. So 8 times 3 is 24. Y'all know I love math. And that 20% is the 6 days. 24 days, your marriage is almost perfect. But here's the thing, it's not sequential. So it's not like, okay, 25th day, here we go with the mess. It could be day 3, day 5, day 10, day 15, day 20. Because 6 days, if you start journaling, you'll find out those 6 days are just like, sometimes they're very difficult. And 6 times 12 is 72 days out of the year. But I want to say, hey, sis, breathe. I'm here for you. We can make it because we have the power with the resources. So, our power with the resources also leads to our prayer. Prayer is extremely important. I love what Dennis Kimbrough says. He's the author of What Makes the Great Great. Prayer is one long conversation with God. So that does mean that you are constantly talking to your source of life for you. And again, I respect all religions over here. Y'all know how I feel about that. I honor and respect you all, no matter what your core belief is. I want you to pray and ask strength for yourself. So, however you decide to pray, pray, talk, get it off your chest. It's okay, get it out so you can be light and fresh and beautiful. Many of you carry so much worry because you don't share enough. You want to share with your sisters. Okay, you overshare and you trauma bond when all you got to do is talk out loud. And maybe some of this comes to me because I'm an only child. I don't mind talking to myself or to the Lord. We talk all the time, but talk it out. Next thing, meditate. We must go internally and start to think. How do you feel? I'll tell you, in the past 2 days, there have been some unique things, but I pay attention to my surroundings. I pay attention to the birds. I pay attention to every single detail because I'm always asking God, show me, Lord. Show me, how to fulfill this assignment you've put on my life in this world. So I'll notice colors. I'm a dreamer, but I'm very intentional about asking these things. So as you're meditating, there was you all know my Chicago step, and I say it's step so y'all know and understand. And Tuesday, I said, I'm not going to go to class. I'm just not going to go to class. I said, I went to Pilates. I did it in the morning. I ended up doing it in the evening. And then I got a text that someone had passed, so the instructor was not hosting class. Now, of course, I wouldn't have wished that on anyone. But I was like, wow, I knew I wasn't going to class. Something else happened. Actually, today I was going to go to cycle class. And I decided yesterday I wasn't going to go because, again, I live in South Georgia, but coming north into the city, you don't know what traffic's going to look like. So it could take me 30 minutes. It could take me 90 minutes. You just literally never know. So I said, well, I'm going to err on the side of just going to the gym. I woke up 2 minutes later. The instructor texted me and was like, hey, I'm not going to be there today. And I was like, oh, sis, I'm already up. So again, start paying attention. A lot of you are not paying attention to your spirit, man or woman, but that's what meditation does, where you can internally start examining yourself, everything about you, your hair, your skin, your tongue, your nails. I'm serious. You have to go internally and start meditating. And as feminine women, you should be a feeler. You should be a feeler in this life. This is not hokey stuff. This is as you get older. You know how they say examine your breasts, and things like that. Like really start to pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your feelings. Pay attention to people that you like and dislike. How do you feel around them? Okay. Purpose of marriage. I did have someone on here say purpose of marriage is, kids and this and that. Right. You're right. Purpose of marriage is to have children and, have commitment, raise them together. But if you miss it the first time, because 50% of marriages fail and you go the second time, then the purpose of marriage as we get older is to become the best version of ourselves. It's an evolution. This is not super duper 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 deep. If you are in any relationship and it's not evolving and you don't feel comfortable and you're not evolving to become the best version of yourself, why are you in it? Okay. I have a lot of friendships. I love friendships, but I'm not a daily texter or caller. You might hear from me once a month, once a week. Sometimes you might hear from me 2 or 3 days a week. It doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means I'm busy, but I want you to be the best version of yourself around me so we can grow together. All right, y'all, let's make this practical, practical. So this is the practical side again. If you're new, welcome, welcome, welcome. I get to the comments at the end. So if you want to leave a comment, you're welcome to. So here's the thing, and I got quick notes today. I'm reading an amazing book, and I can't wait to release it. So it's in the Happy Wife Project. I'll share it. But one of the things you want to think about is asking your husband this. And I know if you're dating, if you're single, ask your date this too, okay? Y'all take this, chew the meat, spit out the bones, make it relevant to your life, right? So if you could have it all your way, what would that look like? So let me tell you how I use this today for my honey. I said, if you could have it all your way when you get home today, what would that look like? Think about it and let me know so I can prepare accordingly. Think about that, right? Then for you, what would that look like? If you could have it all your way, what would that look like in your marriage? What would that look like in your life? What would that look like in your communication with your husband? And start working toward that strategy and that solution. So that's why I say over here we are wives that work because we don't want to be over here just willy nilly and talking about telling the next woman, girl, it's just hard work. Girl, we just got to learn how to communicate. I just don't understand it. So taking it practical again, the book I took the cover off. Sometimes with these books, this one is on how to improve your marriage without talking about it. You got to be mindful that, you don't necessarily want your husband to think something's wrong because it might not be anything wrong. You just want to improve it. But, men have egos. They get a little sensitive. So I just took the cover off. But it's how to improve your marriage without talking about it. Okay. This one right here, and I want to go into what we were ending with yesterday, the worst thing a woman does to a man. And then we're going to talk about the worst thing a man does to a woman because I want you to hear what they're doing too so we can just start recognizing these behaviors. When a woman criticizes a man, whether she does it deliberately or not, she makes it impossible for him to feel connected to her. Where there is a withdrawn or silent man, there is usually a critical woman. Ouch, right? Ouch. Hopefully, you've gotten the idea by now that women can do great harm to their relationships without even realizing it. So he talks about the chapter highlights how men can do the same. He said, please understand the purpose of these chapters is not to divvy up blame. Hold on. And then my car, I knew it was going to do that. The extent of which we can understand and sympathize with each other's hidden vulnerability to fear and shame will determine our success in finding love beyond words. Can you imagine that? Love beyond words, okay? And I love, love, love my husband. But there are the days when I be like, whew, okay, men pause. The worst thing a man does to a woman is leaving her alone but married. While public records show the majority of divorces are filed by women, most women will tell you that he left the relationship long before she did. What makes marriage miserable for a woman is the isolation she feels when her husband seems to leave the marriage emotionally, a defense against shame. One woman said it best: I have the worst of both worlds. I have the loneliness of being single and the constraints of being married. I can't go out and date, but I don't have the support and attention of a partner. And that feels like miserable. It's a miserable, it feels like a prison. And I've been there, done that, y'all. I've been in a marriage where I was like, wow, till death do us part, like die, go get. Women who leave commonly report some version of this alone but married syndrome. And then he talks about some of the examples, men, how they drive women away. Most of the time, catch this, without ever meaning to. And this is a book written by a husband and wife. So I love this. When two people fall in love, they begin to dream of a life together. Sometimes this dream is conscious, sometimes unconscious. And I'm just going to read some of the things that he has, which is the checklist. Okay, because he does the same thing with the checklist. Alone at home. He said, acknowledge that it is your responsibility as well as hers to keep your home life functioning satisfactorily. Do your share of household chores. Notice what needs to be done and do it without being asked. Willingly pay for help maintaining the residence or pay the residence, and pick up after yourself and pick up after others. Like, he gives them a checklist. He talks about alone in her dreams. If you know her dreams, keep them in mind when you make decisions. If you don't know her dreams, pay attention and let her teach you. Become the guardian of her dreams and make fulfilling and honoring them a priority. Take pleasure in fulfilling and honoring her dreams. Suggest and plan activities that include her. Increase contact time with her, affectionate, touching, or shared activities when work hours get long. Pay attention to her when sex isn't the motivation. Let her know she's beautiful, attractive, sexy, sensual, not as a form of foreplay. If you can't tell her with your smile, send her a note, email, or text message. Pay attention to her sexual needs and notice if she's satisfied or not. Alone on the edge of his depression says, understand that depression often shows up in alcoholism, drug addiction, anger, irritability, anxiety, obsessive thoughts, controlling behavior, excessive guilt, insecurity, apathy, withdrawal, lack of motivation, procrastination, low sex drive, compulsive behaviors like overeating, watching or reading pornography, having affairs, flirting, shopping, spending, and using the computer constantly. If you have one parent who had any of these behaviors, there's a 50% chance you will be depressed. If you had two parents with those behaviors, there's a 75% chance you'll be depressed. Often, people don't know they're depressed. I went through a time in my life, probably about 18, 19 years ago, when my closest relative passed away, my aunt that had raised me. I didn't even know I was depressed. I got married to my second husband, and I literally was having an out of body experience. And it wasn't until literally one day I woke up. I just literally just woke up, and I had to look at him and say, I can no longer stay married to you. I literally was so depressed. And what happened was, with the church, it was like, oh, just pray, pray, pray. I needed a therapist. I probably needed to take meds. That's how depressed I was and didn't know it. So sometimes with men, now knowing these things, your husband might just be depressed. And sis, it's probably not you that's making him depressed. You probably don't have that much, and I hate to say it like this, power. You don't have as much power as you think to make him depressed. It is lifing. It might be the bills. It might be an ex-wife. It might be these adult kids bring along a lot more drama than little kids. So you just don't know. But again, we as women internalize everything. So that's why I'm referencing these books. That's why I'm committed to doing this. Sometimes I'm up here like, okay, God, we've had 2,000 views and I don't care about the views. I don't do this for money. I'm not charging on anything, because I am seeing enough of this that these men are depressed. And if you don't understand the modes of this, it's very difficult to deal with these people day in and day out. There was one day I had to just hug my husband and I kissed him and he melted in my arms. And I mean, when I sit here and tell y'all I love, love, love my husband, I do. But it comes with a lot, because I am doing the work. I am self-aware. I had a terrible childhood. So for me, it's like, it's like, people say you give 100%, but sometimes you're giving 100% when the person isn't giving back 100. And that for you is where it's most frustrating. But that's where someone like me says, sis, I get it, but we have to study these men. Because if you're in the marriage, you want to make it work, make it work. grass is greener, but it comes with a whole different set of issues that you have to deal with. And I just want you to know about everything out there because I'm pro marriage, I'm pro relationships, but I am pro happiness. But internalize your happiness again because it's important. So we're going to leave out of here. But like I said, the practical side, y'all know I love that you text your husband, send him a photo. Y'all should have seen the photo I sent my husband today. Woo, sis. He was like, if you could have it all your way, ask him, honey, if you could have it all your way, what would that look like for you? If you could have it all your way when you get home today, what would that look like for you? Let him tell you, and then ask. See if he's going to ask you, what would that look like for you, which he may not. But you may say something to him like, I feel like I want to tell you what that would look like for me. What do you think? Remember, masculine frame, think, want, do. That's how you ask him. What do you think? What do you want? Do. Okay, they're doing, we're being. You only talk about how you feel, how he makes you feel. Okay, that's feminine. And if you want to be in the masculine, you do you. Because I run a business, so I do have to change out a lot in business because business is masculine. And then the last thing here that we talk about is self. Your hobbies make you happy. Y'all have to have hobbies. Even yesterday, I went to the sauna. I go to my Pilates. I'm going to have my grandson soon. Like, I just do things that make me happy. They bring me joy in my life. And self-care, self-maintenance, thank God I have a self-care appointment today to get my hair done. But it makes me happy. I cut some of my hair off and I come in and do things. But self-care is so important to me. But it feeds you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Your self-maintenance is things like getting your nails done, your wax, or things like that. But there are things for you that are the maintenance. Take care of your skin at night. Take some extra time. Get you a skin regimen so you can massage your face and your neck. Touch yourself. Okay, it's important. Do things that are for you. Last thing here that we're going into, you need a sister circle. Y'all know how I feel about that. Unicorns and rainbows. You don't have to be super duper 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 deep with people. But if you want to, that's fine too. But again, don't overshare things that you should be sharing with a marriage counselor, therapist, life coach. Okay, there's plenty of people online. Watch some YouTube videos. But you know what? I'll tell you what I do. I even watch some YouTube videos. And instead of leaving comments in the videos, I have notes and I leave comments in my notes because some things you just don't want to share publicly. And it's okay. All right. All right, got to put on our whole armor. Well, when you're talking with your sisters, unicorns and rainbows, unicorns and rainbows. All right, whole armor. Okay. Whew, I'm gonna put some extra armor on today because I got a lunch meeting today. I'm gonna have to be around, I don't know, probably a couple hundred people with lots and lots of energy. So I have to recognize that. And the space has got two of my outfits back there. I don't know which one I want to wear, so I brought two just in case. Y'all never know. These snafus. I'm getting dressed here at the hairdresser. And the last thing, sis. No weapon formed against you is going to prosper because the joy of the Lord is your strength. We going through this together. Since I'm telling you, these men are crazy. But it's not enough to be like, oh, girl, you got to work. We going to do the work over here and make it practical. But I have to acknowledge you and honor you. I know, sis, I may not know what you're going through. I may have gone through it, or maybe I haven't gone through it yet. But I would want to honor you and just say, hey, thanks for showing up in this space. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for loving your husband, but thank you for loving yourself because you matter. So get the books that you need to be the best version of yourself because you're going to go through something. So be proactive. Remember yesterday I said, what's your fight plan? So you have the strategies and solutions because when you go in the valley, now you can exercise some humor and be emotionally mature and pray before you say and increase your self-confidence. So let me look over here. Thanks, your pa. Your pa, you be up in here. Hey, Sophia. Thank y'all for the replay. Hey, Simply Unique. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Your pa be getting it in. I love y'all. Hey, Kai. Good morning. All right. Y'all have an amazing rest of the day. Let me see if I can get in here and get my hair done. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.